Good morning. It's morning, ladies and gentlemen. I just had my breakfast, lean body. I like it. It's Leela Brothers product. I like him because he used to be a bodybuilder. He's still bodybuilding, but he used to be in the competition, Mr. Olympia and all of that stuff, so he knows how it is. It's his own supplement. It has 40 grams of protein, only 600 sodium, sodium, carbohydrates total of 9 grams, sugar, absolutely no sugar, and a total of 280 calories with 40 grams of protein. So anyways, today's Thursday. I'm in Union City. That's considered the Bay Area, but Union City is there's a lot of Filipinos here, just like Vallejo or Daly City in the San Francisco Bay Area. But I usually hang out here before I train my dance team, Team Rodchata. Tonight I trained them Thursday and then Friday. Okay, which like two nights in a row, but it's okay. Anyways, subject is at hand tonight. Actually today, it's not tonight yet. It's only freaking 12 noon. Is teaching and teachers. Meaning, you want to become a teacher someday, or you are already a teacher, but just beginning, and you don't know how to go about it. Okay. Well, first of all, how do you become a teacher? See, especially in this industry, whether you want to become a teacher or salsa teacher or merengue or bachata teacher or kizomba teacher or what have you, okay? Because this type of dances are not, does not, what we call have a governing bodies as opposed to ballroom and other dance disciplines, okay? Whereas ballroom, you have governing bodies who can certify you and recognize you as a official dance teacher. Okay, in salsa, bachata, and other street dances, there's really not that much, or there's no governing bodies. Although there was one person who tried to have a governing bodies before, but he was totally rejected by the community. I forgot his name, but he used to live in Florida. So anyways, I guess the best thing I can do is to tell you how I became a teacher. It's a long story, but I'm going to make it short because my videos, my vlog are pretty much from 15 minutes minimum to 30 minutes only, max. And then I will cut it off, or I'll probably do a 2-part series for it. But number one requirement for you to be a teacher, you got to have a good personality. What does that mean? If you are the kind of kid, when you were a kid, that likes attention, that likes to perform in front of your cousins and your relatives and your parents, and you seek their approval and you seek their recognition, you seek certain type of applause, that's number one, okay? Absolutely number one, okay? Number two, you need to be a good communicator. Teaching is pretty much the same as public speaking, okay? When you do public speaking in front of an audience, you need to be very sure that your content, your speech, is so good that you're getting the audience attention, okay? Very important. The best public speakers there are in the world are stand-up comedians. Stand-up comedians command the audience, and they have all the tricks to get the audience attention. That's what public speaking is, okay? And when it comes to other politicians, there are certain politicians with personalities that gets people attention, but at the same time, not only that the speaker gets the attention of the audience is understanding what the speaker is talking about, okay? So, number one, you have a good personality. Number two, you have to be a good communicator. You have to be a good speaker. You have to be good in public speaking. What does that mean? You are not scared, or you don't have the fear in front of people watching you. when you're talking to them, you don't have the awkwardness. You're comfortable in front of an audience, and you're comfortable to tell them a message where they can understand. Okay, so those two requirements, I should say, is very required in being a teacher. Have you ever anyone, by the way, anyone can be certified. Anyone can get a teaching degree. Anyone can get a dance degree. But teaching is an exception. Teaching is a gift. Like I already told you, those two requirements. You got to have a good personality. Not only a good personality, what that means is likable personality. You got to have certain charisma, okay? You have to have a stage presence. That involves the good personality, what I'm talking about. And then you have to be a good communicator. You can actually instruct somebody or some people in a group that they can actually understand, and they understand you. You are able to explain different movements, different areas. You are able to explain your points. Okay, that's required for teaching in any profession, and specifically to this profession, which is dancing. Okay, experience is very important. Also, you cannot just. There are so many people now in our industry that has taken probably, I don't care if they have taken 20 workshops, and they actually really think that qualifies them as a teacher. Okay, again, if they have taken 20 workshops, that is part of the experience, and they have those two personalities, good personality and good communication. They're on their way to becoming a good teacher. Okay, well, becoming a good teacher is another one, and becoming an effective teacher is another story. All right, but you got to have those two requirements. All right, so you have taken 3 workshops in the field of a specific dance called Rodchata. All right, so you know all of the basics, blah 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 blah. Okay, but if you've only been dancing for a year or 2 years, it is of my opinion that you should not be teaching yet. Again, yes, knowledge is very important. Yes, knowledge is power, and that could be acquired in the shortest period of time. But experience takes time, okay? I did not start teaching until about my 5th year in dancing, and that was salsa, okay? I started with ballroom. I got certified in ballroom, but I did not teach salsa until like after 5 years, and it was more of like a request from a friend that I was subbing for, because she was not in the Bay Area at that time. She was on vacation, so I had to fill in. And based on those responses, and based on what I felt in the first time I've done it, I felt good about it. I felt that the students knew and understood what I was talking about, and they were able to dance that night. And so it told me, it occurred to me, it's like, well, I could actually do this, okay? Maybe I should do it more. And since that time, every time I teach, even to this day, you learn something. Every time you teach a group class, you learn something. Every time you teach a private lesson, you learn something. Every time you coach somebody, or you coach a competitor, you coach a couple, you learn something. The education of being a good teacher is unending, okay? So yes, experience count. And without experience, that's just like fighting, okay? Any veteran fighter is much better than a newbie, okay? And then you need to be able to know how to promote yourself, especially now. You got social media and everything. But the problem is, how do you know you're a good teacher? Okay, the Bible says, oh, I'm preaching now. The Bible says, ooh, you shall know them by their fruit, you shall know them by their fruits. Okay, so the fruits of labor, as they call it. Okay, your students are great dancers. Your students became good dancers, became good promoters, became good social dancers, even became good teachers. All right, very important, because in the first class, let's say you became a teacher, you're official, you open up a studio, or maybe you rented a studio, and you teach every Thursday, every week. How many students come in every night? Okay, let's say every night of the week, okay? So let's say every Thursday. How many students came in? That's good, okay? Let's say you had 12 students came in, all right. The following week, how many of those students came back? Okay, very important. How many of those students came back? And then you assess accordingly. And then the following, how many of those students came back again? What's your retention rate? Very important, because if they came back and then after that they kept coming back, that means they found you to be a good teacher. They found you to be a good instructor, so that they could keep coming back every week and learning something every week. All right, very important. If you will never see certain people again, let's say you started with 12 people and then one came back, one. You got to self-analyze yourself every time, okay? Whether what did I do wrong? How come they didn't come back? Was it too hard? Was it too easy? Did they understand what I was talking about? Okay? So becoming a teacher is an art, because not only is an art, because you have this gift to be able to communicate, you have this gift to be able to change people's lives. Most of the people that come in, especially beginners, their self-esteem is a little low because they don't know what the dance is. So their confidence level is low. Once they know, once they're able to learn, their confidence level go up every time they learn something in a class. So your goal is not to be able to lower that self-confidence they have. If they just came from your class and their confidence level went even lower, forget teaching. You're not going to be able to change people's lives. Changing people's lives, helping them to gain confidence on the dance floor and maybe later on performing or whatever. But teaching is very important. Your content, the content of your teaching is very important, okay? Not only that, you are able to break down movements. Breaking down movements is a concept that teachers has to really learn, because breaking down concepts and breaking down movements and breaking down techniques, without that, then you're not able to communicate, okay? There are many ways of breaking down techniques. Like I've always said to my students, because I have a teacher's program, I train certain selected people that teaches my system. I always tell them, if you can teach and share cross-body lead, the cross-body lead, whether it's in salsa or bachata, 10 different ways. If you could present it in 10 different ways, then you're on your way to becoming a good teacher, okay? You cannot only teach, you cannot teach cross-body lead just one type or one presentation or one kind. You can't, because every student out there are different. Some learn by visual, some learn by instructions through their ears, some learn by, you have to guide them and actually touch them and guide them to that state. We call that kinesthetic. All right, so there are so many type of learners here. One of the ways that you could figure out if you have the right personality is to test your personality, what kind of personality you have. There is such thing as Myers-Briggs online, and test yourself what kind of personality you have, whether you're an influencer or you're a coach or you're a analyzer, you know, those type of things. All right. You got to have that. If you could also, here's another trait of your personality. If you could also tell a story. Have you ever noticed yourself, you tell a story and the people you're telling a story to are looking at you, okay, and then what happened? You know, as opposed to you tell a story, the very first sentence or the second sentence you say, you lost them. They're not listening to you. Don't be a teacher. You can't be a teacher, okay? You're going to be one of those professors in college that are boring as hell, okay? Yeah, they got the degree, but you dread going to those classes because you fall asleep, okay? Yes, they're teachers, but they're not gifted teachers. There's a difference, okay? There are teachers, and anyone can teach. Anyone, including your mother, all right? But there are gifted teachers. They're actually good in what they say and what they do, and you can understand it, okay? That's teaching, all right? What else? Yeah, you got to have that self-promotion, but the best promotion you can ever have as a teacher is that your students are able to advertise for you. How do they do that? You don't have to instruct them. You don't have to tell them, okay? If you have instructed them good and you've been teaching them well, they will tell their friends about it, and their friends will tell their friends about it, okay? It's by word of mouth, okay? Any business that have good customer service where people enjoyed it, really, it's a self-advertising type of business. It's the same thing as teacher. Okay, if you're a good teacher, if you're an effective teacher, they will keep coming back and they will keep inviting their friends. They're going to tell the whole world about it. Okay, so that's one of the best way as far as teaching is concerned. I already told you that. I gotta have to recharge my phone here, guys. I already told you that those two personalities are really required. Without those personalities, don't even bother teaching, okay? Because you're not going to be effective at it, okay? Make sure you have a lesson plan, and based on those lesson plan, you figure out the movements you're going to learn, okay? And based on those movements you're going to learn, you are able to break them down 10 different ways, okay? They cannot be coming back every week and you're teaching the same thing. They're not coming back. They're gonna get bored, okay? So, what else? There are so many more, because in my teaching program, we analyze everything, the psychological aspects of it, the presentation aspects of it, and then you get into the dance. How do you teach a dance called bachata? That's very simple, okay? You don't teach a bachata that's very simple by adding complicated moves that's not from the bachata structure. No. Then that is not a challenging thing for a teacher. If you have the most simple moves in bachata, you can figure out how you're able to share that every week in different ways, okay? And there are many teachers right now in bachata that are doing that. Okay, very simple move, but yet they could break it down. Okay, they teach history, they teach roots, they teach analogies, they teach comparison, they teach structure and substructure and branches of that structure, different ways. Okay, let's see what else now. Do you have to have a partner in teaching? Yes. If you are teaching a partner dance, okay? Yes, you need to have a partner. That is, if you don't know how to follow or don't know how to lead, okay? If you know both skills, leading and following, and there are many dancers that does that now, then it's okay to do that. But if you don't, then you got to have a partner, whether it's a male or a female, you got to have a partner. And make sure that you talk to your partner and make sure what your strategy is. Because sometimes when you have a partner, they talk over you or you talk over her. Okay, that's not good. You got to have a certain strategy so that you could actually work together. It's not very easy to find a teaching partner because both of you might have a different styles. Okay, that's probably a no-no. So it's always good to talk to the dance partner first, figure out, dance together, look at the dance partner she can teach, or he can teach, or whatever, or you can just have the deal, or that he or she can be your partner, and that person will just be silent, and you can talk throughout the class. That's also good. All right, but it's always good to get the viewpoint of a follower and a leader, and that they're able to explain that at the same time. All right, you control the audience. That's another trait of the personality. You command the audience. That means they follow your instructions. They're not distracted, and they're not doing their own thing. Okay, you've got to have a commanding voice. Okay, now there are certain teachers that have the softest voice. I'm a little in between when it comes to that, whether that's a good trait for a teacher. Personally, it's not for me, because you got to have a commanding voice. It doesn't have to be loud, but loud enough. Now, if you have the softest voice, we have technology now called microphones and wireless mic. Again, but it has something to do with the tone of your voice. Is it a commanding voice, even though it's still soft? Okay, there are times. There is one coach, football coach in the United States, that always talks soft. So what the players do is they actually listen more and make sure they listen like this, because his voice is so soft, and if they don't listen, they're gonna miss it. Okay, but then that's something to work out as a teacher. Okay, that depends on how large your students are or how small your students in the room. Very important. What else? Analogies are always great. Illustrations are always great. History examples are always great. Anecdotes are always great. Parables are always great. These are like included in my teacher's program. Very important, because you do what you can until they get what you mean. Now, there are slow learners, very slow learners. There are what we call two left feet. Just because they're two left-footed, okay, means they cannot dance. Like I've always said, from a friend of mine that I stole, when it's come a quote, it's called, "If you can walk, you can dance." Look, everyone can dance. If you can walk, you can dance. It's just a matter of time, the way they learn to dance, because some are slow learners and some are fast learners. Okay, so if you want to become a teacher, you need to be able to know what your vision is and why you want to become a teacher. Okay, one factor for me before I became a teacher is that I was impressed with how happy certain students after a class and felt really good. Okay, and I figured, it's like, wow, I could actually make a difference. I could actually change lives. I could actually help them gain confidence. Why is that very important to me? Because when I started dancing, I was like that. I was not confident at all. I wouldn't even ask anyone to dance. I would just go upstairs from Cafe Kokomo, upstairs, and just watch the dancers and be envious. It's like, wow, he's so confident. Oh, wow, she's so great. You know, this type of thing. I was like that. But the way I learned to dance, that's another story, is because a lot of people were patient with me, okay? And a lot of teachers were patient with me. My background is martial arts also, and a personal fitness trainer. We're both certified. Used to teach martial arts. And so the breaking down of techniques the kinesiological part, the physiological part, the psychological part is very important for us to explain, especially the mechanics of movements. All right, very important for us martial artists. Otherwise, we're gonna get killed on the street. But it's the same way. The way I adapted those concepts from the ballroom concept to the martial arts concept of explaining techniques to my students in bachata. And I am very proud of what I've done because, again, when I started teaching bachata, not too many people were teaching bachata. Okay, there are only a few of us bachateros that went all over the world and taught bachata when no one knew about it, and some people did not like it because they thought bachata is just very simplistic with the music of twang and twang, you know, those type of guitar, you know. But then now everybody is teaching, but that doesn't mean that they're good teachers. So you know. How do you promote yourself? Make yourself a video yourself teaching a partner dance, okay? Don't teach if you don't know how to do partner dance. You can't teach any dance that's a concept of partner dance. Otherwise, they're not going to go to you, okay? So, experience is important. Go sub for somebody who is not there. Go, to a workshop, for any workshop, and just watch or even take the workshop. It doesn't matter whether it's a beginner or intermediate or advanced. In fact, I want you to take a lot of beginners class because that's the only way you're going to know how different instructor explains certain basic movements different ways, okay? Dance with a beginner. Dance with an advanced person. That's the only way you could figure out how to explain techniques until you social dance. Then you get the psychological aspect and the movement aspects to it, or even the vibe aspects of it. Then you're able to explain that to your students and give them tips as they learn certain movements and certain core of the dance. It's always good to teach concepts for me instead of movements first, okay? Concept is always good because it's almost like the way, you know, it's saying, you know, if you give a man 3 fish, that's great. But if you teach the man how to fish, all right, then you teach something for a lifetime. You teach him, you give him something for a lifetime. It's the same when we teach concept. When we teach you concept, and there are many people that teach concept now, Edwin Ferreras, Carlos Cinta, Adam Taub, okay, myself. Concept is very important because not only we teach you concept, what happens after that is that after we teach you concept, you are able to create your own move based on the concept we showed you, okay? So again, it matters of why you want to teach. Do you want to teach because you want to get girls? Do you want to teach because you want to get men? You want to pick up men? Do you want to teach because you want to make money? Do you want to teach because you want to be popular? If those are your goals, don't teach because that's a wrong purpose. All right? You're going to be disappointed. Number one, there's no money. Okay? You will survive a little bit, but you're not going to be rich teaching. Okay? About dancing. All right? There are so only many certain people that are making money now, and there are very few of them. It's the same thing. Being an actor and actress, successful actress in Hollywood, there's only, you know. So, but if your purpose is to change lives, if your purpose is to help people gain confidence, or to actually help people, influence people to dance a certain genre, then you have something there, okay? Other than that, my 30 minutes is way past. I think it's already 30 minutes. I will tell you more in many subjects, especially how to organize a festival and the pitfalls and all of that stuff. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Ciao.